Okay, so today's video, we're going to be figuring out how to retrofit some Amazon ATV wiper motor assemblies to fit in your classic car. In this case, I'm working on a 67 Camaro. See, there's a ton of space in this cowl. Obviously, everyone's application is going to be a little bit different. So in this case, I'm going to be retrofitting these to fit here. They may be asking, why am I doing this? Well, the original wiper motor assembly went there and it sticks out like crazy. Hits my fuel rail and my valve cover. So completely deleted it. We're gonna patch that hole eventually anyway. Thing number two, cost. If I were to replace it, even if I did have the space for it, they're around 300 bucks. And that's not including the linkage assembly that goes inside of here that's gonna create the whole wiping motion from the motor to the linkages going to the wipers. Number one is going to be the mechanical aspect. Does it fit and how do I mount it? Number two is going to be the electrical. This is the original harness that I did years ago, and it was plugged into the wiper motor and it did work. Now, the OG wiper motors have 2 speeds as well as a washer fluid reservoir, I guess, pump. I have a universal one here as well. Now, the reason all this entices me is one, I like being creative, and two, it's cheap. I paid $65 for these, about $30 for this. So all in all, I'm still under 100 bucks for this assembly. They come with these wiper arms. I mean, they feel cheap, but I mean, hey, they're wiper arms, so I don't give a shit. So they got the little grooves in them, and they go into these pins here. So let's go ahead and go over the mechanical point of what I want to do with this specific project. Another thing I highly recommend getting is grade 8 hardware kits. Obviously this one's already used and I got a bunch of other shit in there, but I have just enough to do this little project right here. I'll be using these bolts right here. I got 2 of them over here already. So pretty much I fed one through the backside just to kind of get a guesstimation, right? And then we're gonna check for clearance. Kind of gotta figure out how that goes in there. Boom. So I can get one of them in through the existing hole, which is great. And the second good thing is that this pin that's actually going to be moving fits within this notch. So that means I got plenty of clearance. We'll go ahead and get this one mounted and then we'll work on the next one. And that takes care of the mechanical aspect of things, right? And then we got to get into wiring. Wiring is going to be a little bit more tricky because I got to figure out which one of these plugs go to the actual wiper motor and which ones go to the washer assembly. So like I said, we're gonna make all this work under a budget and we're just gonna make the car more daily drivable. I mean, California really doesn't rain except for lately, so not too worried, but it is nice to have a safety feature like wipers. Oh, hello there, chismosa. Just wanted to hang out, huh? Okay, now that I got them mounted, I have them loose. You can still move them just a little bit. All right, so they're just a little snug, so you can still move this pin around. The reason to do that is we got to get this cowl fitted. So, as you can see, we're still hitting here, and that side hasn't seated down. So I'm going to go to the other side and see if we can get it to seat down. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. Okay, so strictly just hitting up here. So, okay, so now that I slotted out the holes, you can see right there. Put a washer on it. Same thing here. Slotted over about 1/4 inch. We're going to go ahead and put the valence back on. Okay, as you can see, pins are nice and aligned, and then obviously once we actually align the body after paint and all that stuff, we can get this up higher. Now the cool thing is this threaded piece here, this threaded piece itself does not rotate. It's this inner sleeve right here that's going to be rotating, so I don't have to worry about it hitting in there, and then I'm going to have this sleeve over on the top of it anyway. So let's go ahead and tighten things down a bit and see where we're at, but I'm trying to just go off the holes that are existing here. We got one hole there, and then obviously imagining that it's kind of flush with the body where it's going to end up. Obviously that side is a little lower, so put something in there. Let's see, so that's about the height that it would be at, right? Kind of, I mean, sags right here a little bit, but we'll have a spacer there to bring this up. So like I said, we know it's not hitting, even though this is resting on that one. It's because it's all loose. So you could always move it up, move it down. And obviously with the chrome molding that goes here, it'll block whatever part of this that's not level or even. So, like I said, we can play with that a little bit. See, play with this one here too. There we go. Come on, a little bit lower, right there. Awesome. So I think we're good here, safety-wise, in terms of clearing the valence. And like that, I don't have to cut out the valence, and you won't see where I chopped it up underneath. So I'm pretty happy with that. And that's what it's like with the grommet on. Check that out. So that sticks out just enough. So when we put these wiper blades on, go on there, we're gonna have to double check the angle that they're mounted at first. And once we know that, then we can pop them in right here, and then boom, they should get a 90-degree sweep. Should be good. Like I said, it ain't gotta be perfect. It's just gotta be enough for me to see if it's ever raining. So, super stoked with that. We're gonna take the valence off and start with the wiring. All right, getting a little sidetracked here, but we got the washer fluid reservoir on. There's a plastic bracket that you can mount, and then it slides in as a slot for the actual housing or the reservoir itself. Comes with the pump already down there and the little wires that go to it. I already had a ground junction right there, so we're gonna ground it to that little junction unit, and then we're gonna run power down to one of those ignition sources, and then obviously go into the car, put a designated switch in there for it. Probably make it a push button, just because one, they already sent me one, but I really don't like how tiny these little fittings are, so I'll probably get my own. And same thing with the toggle switches. Get some toggle switches to make the wiper motors work, because this is already fried. I've probably blown out the fuse on it, at least the resistors that are on the inside of it, too many times, because I tried getting juice out of the switch. It wasn't working. Check the fuses. Fuses are fine. Like I said, we get power to the wiper feed, so we'll pretty much use that for the wipers. These are single speed. And then I have another extra ignition right here. It's ignition source, 12-volt source that we're gonna use for the washer. Now, I'm thinking, comes with little squirters. I'm mounting them to the valence, so they just shoot straight up. I don't wanna mount them below and then they get blocked by, you know, the moldings and stuff, so I'm thinking we'll do that. So, I said one thing at a time. We're still focused on the wiring. I was just kind of cleaning up all the wires down here, tucking them away, making sure the grounds are nice and good, which I gotta double check, make sure that ground junction is still good. Okay, so this is where we left off. These blades do not rotate in synchronicity because they're on individual motors. After dwelling through the forums for several hours, apparently it's the type of switch that I'm using. I gotta use a dual pole, whatever, start switch or some shit like that. So, I ordered one of those. It seems to have helped on the forums, and then at least like that, when they turn off, they end up in the same spot, and when they go on, they're usually set. That being said, I'm going to take these off. I'm going to take apart the wiring so I can rewire it to the diagram I'm going to pop in right here somehow. And then we'll go from there, and then start working on the washer fluid reservoir that I got right here. Okay, so like I said, we got the squirters mounted to the valence. Button, where are you? There we are. Maybe? Oh, right. Well, we are aiming right at the bottom. So we're gonna try to create a spacer, aim it upwards,